Welcome back, Hooligans. Thank you for joining us once again for a very interesting episode of Movie How. We're going to review this movie you've probably never heard of. It's called Willy's Wonderland. My name is Joe. I'm joined by my prestigious and fragrant co-host Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Nicolas Cage movie, a little bit more recent. It's a Five Nights at Freddy's-esque horror movie, and it's really something else. When I saw the preview for it, it just made me want to watch it for us to podcast about it. And here we are. I watched it just a few nights ago with my oldest daughter because she's into horror movies. I don't know if she liked it as much as I did, but Ryan just watched this today. So, Ryan, what are your first impressions of Willy's Wonderland? Was it a Wonderland?
I'll give a brief synopsis of what it was, because we have
Good
a
luck.
problem with not doing that. So it begins with our mute protagonist, played by Nicolas Cage, and he's driving. That's it. We don't know where he's going. We don't know what he's doing. He's driving. It's immediately recognizable. It's a Camaro SS. He is, just shows him doing driving things, whatever. We flash sideways to a young girl pouring paint thinner or gasoline, something flammable, onto a building and trying to light a Zippo, and then police pull up. He winds up getting flat tires because he hits a spike strip that was lost. She is arrested and taken home by the sheriff. They wind up encountering each other when the sheriff and tow truck driver cross paths. And essentially, this girl has a past with Willy's Wonderland, and Nicolas Cage's character ends up having to go to Willy's Wonderland overnight to work off a debt to this mechanic. And it's a horror movie, so horror things happen in Willy's Wonderland. But he never speaks the entire time, which was interesting. I wondered if it was a budget thing, and I just briefly Googled it in a couple places, said it was, because they didn't know for sure if they'd be able to get Nicolas Cage to play it.
Okay.
I think I used to have a friend who actually had like a SAG card, Screen Actors Guild.
Mm.
Like he wound up being an extra in some movie or whatever, so he actually went out and got this card so he could get paid if he happened to like wander into the back of a movie again or whatever. I think it was just a thing that he wanted to talk about, like, hey, do you know I have this, like something to say at a bar or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, it starts off really bad. I really didn't like it. I was like, oh, this is going to be one of those movies we're going to be able to tear apart. And then I realized pretty quickly this was another Hawk and Rev. This was a movie we thought was going to be really bad, and it was so fun. It was so good. I enjoyed it the entire time. I laughed through the whole thing. It was so good. Like, the little details in it were done so well. Like, it's completely ridiculous because it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. They're leaning hard into Nicolas Cage's kind of current persona. The way he's perceived.
Absolutely.
Like, he's a living meme as this, as what he is. I don't know. I was telling you that there's a video from Cracked, like way back in the day, where they're talking about The Rock, where it's Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Right? And he's kind of learning to be an action hero in that movie. And they said he said it's the movie that turned Nicolas Cage into the haunting joke he is today. They said if he was Batman, this is his parents being shot to death in an alley. And that, like, weird action hero, but, like, absurd thing that he's gone down, I think has probably served him really well. Because you know what you're going to get with a Nicolas Cage movie. And I kind of knew what I was going to get, but it's so much better than I thought it was going to be. Without getting into too many spoilers, like, everything about the way he acted was kind of perfect.
Oh, man, there were some things in it that were so good. Like, I'll just throw this out there. His watch. And it going off for break time. Yes. Because the guys that don't forget to take your breaks. Gotta take a minute to rest. And he just when that watch went off, he
He
broke.
took his break. Yeah.
He took
And the
his
whole
break.
time he's drinking punch, this soda called punch. I wondered if it was supposed to be soda or beer.
I thought it was an energy drink.
Yeah, but then it said, I noticed at one point when he's drinking it, you see the word pop. So I figure it must be a soda.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I was kept paying attention, but I didn't actually notice it said that until he hands her one at the very end.
Mm.
And she drinks it. I'm like, oh, it says pop. So I assume as well that it is soda.
Yeah, and it's also a lot of soda to drink. Every time he takes a break, he chugs a whole can.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of soda.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean, I guess he's staying up all night and cleaning this place all night, and he's always doing stuff.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, somebody who's on Ritalin who doesn't need it, like they
Right.
get hyper focused on like, even when he's on his break, he's still cleaning stuff. Like there's a scene where he's like cleaning his nails. He's cleaning this old pinball machine he finds and he's playing pinball. Made me want to play pinball. And he
Right?
starts doing that like weird dance
Oh
at
my
one
gosh, the
point to the
dance.
music.
That was when he hit that. It was like towards one of the last scenes, and he hits that dance like that. It was such a great Nicolas Cage moment in this movie. It was well done.
So really there's not a lot. I don't want to spoil anything because it was
Mm.
really good. So I will say now before we get into spoiler territory that I really enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to. It looks kind of like a cheap, goofy indie movie towards the beginning. And I was like, if I wasn't watching this to talk about with you, I probably just wouldn't watch it. Like I would have just turned it off like, I'll look for something else. But I'm so glad I watched it all the way through. It was so good. I 100% recommend it. It's available on Hulu. You don't have to have like a, some high tier account or whatever. It's great. So what do
I
you
agree.
say?
It was. I also thought it was going to be something we are going to be able to rip apart. When I saw the preview for it, I'm like,
When you
oh,
sent
this
me the
could
little
be.
poster thing of it,
Mm-hmm.
because you just texted me that like a screenshot of the Hulu page or whatever,
Right.
and I was like, oh, this looks like a low budget Hell Rider or whatever he did before.
Oh,
Or
Ghost Rider.
Ghost
Yeah.
Rider.
It. I didn't know what to expect. Seeing the preview, I thought, this is just going to be some campy horror. But it seemed fun because it was Nick Cage,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what intrigued me. But I also would have to recommend this. I do not recommend this as a horror movie that's going to scare you. Like I thought
No.
it tried to throw in jump scare type things. Not scary. It's just not scary.
Yeah, I think it had one or two like decent jumps, but yeah, not scary. Not
It's
scary
just
jumps. Just like, oh, okay.
but this was it it was just ended up being much better than I expected it to be as well. It, there's if you search it out, there's actually a number of Nick Cage movies that he has made very recently, it looks like. And they all look insane. One of them I have listed down here where all the parents of a town become zombies
Hmm.
and start killing the kids or something. And that's one that he's in that I had listed as something that we could watch. But this one, Willy's Wonderland, popped up, and it just reminded me it's this old, coming out of St. Louis, like a. It's now called Chuck E. Cheese, but it used to be Showbiz Pizza, and that's what I remember as a kid going there and
Yeah.
seeing this big animatronic bear up on the stage singing and dancing, doing its thing. It just made me want to watch this. And yeah, we're gonna do some spoiling of it because there's some things that you almost can't not spoil trying to talk about it because it's not deep, it's not complex.
Mm.
It is what it is,
It has
but
no
the
agenda.
way it's done, it is a very Hawk and Rev sort of feel because they knew what they were doing and it was done really well with that in mind.
Yep. So with that said, spoiler time or
Oh
like
yes,
more
spoiler
in depth time. So
more in
everybody,
depth. There's going to be some spoilers.
yeah, everybody's been warned. So the first moment that really concerned me was where it's showing these little flashes of people being killed or whatever's happening to them. Something is after them in this location.
So the couple from the very beginning.
Yeah, like the very first scene, like there's just all this like really heavy breathing, like it's all you hear for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this with headphones. And it's like, oh my god, just stop! Something get him already! Like, come on! And then they're running, and that guy falls, and he gets dragged down a hallway that's empty, like clearly empty. There's
Yes.
obviously nothing there, and he makes this like kind of noise as he goes down the hallway. I was like, what was that? Like that looked terrible. That sounded terrible, and I'm so glad I stuck it out because there aren't very many more moments that are like that. I mean, there's a little bit of weirdness because he's fighting basically like MLB mascots
Yep.
because they're animatronic
Robotic
things, so they have to
mascots,
be
as it was.
people. Yeah, but they have to be people in suits. Like
Mm-hmm.
for the actual filming, like that's what he's
Yes.
fighting. They didn't. I think it's a really good thing they didn't try to use any kind of CG or whatever. I know that would have probably been prohibitively expensive, but it makes it a lot creepier that the
Oh.
animatronics look the same. There's no point at which you see like, oh, it's switched from a real object to this CG thing. Now I know something's going to happen. That's kind of what was really good with their jump scare stuff was, you didn't know what these things were going to do. And I was genuinely creeped out when he goes into the place. The guy's like showing him around. He's like, help
Mm-hmm.
yourself to whatever you can find in the kitchen, and here's a shirt. You're officially part of the
On
staff or whatever he
on
says. It's on
staff. That's
staff.
right.
And he's like sweeping up, and like you just see these like slight movements, like the eyes kind of move, they
Mm-hmm.
blink a little bit, like some of the arms kind of move, just these like real slight things. I'm sure there's stuff I missed because my mind sort of registered movement all over, but there are only certain things I could pick up. And he just looks back, and they're all just there still. And then he keeps going. So good, so good.
The very first thing I wrote down in this, you talk about that guy getting dragged down the hallway. First thing I wrote was "Bye, Carl." She kept calling him Carl. Carl. It's all right. You're going too, lady. It's all right. You're gonna be joining them. And I wondered if Nick Cage was going to be silent the whole time. I really expected him, like, at the very end of the movie, to like give a line, to say something,
I did too.
say like one, but nope, not a thing.
The way he looked at the girl, Liv, or
Yes.
whatever they called her, I expected him to talk to her at some point. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's that scene where he's in the truck, and she's being walked into that trailer, and they're just looking at each other, like she's just staring at him.
Right.
Which I didn't know why. I was like, oh, are they gonna make this a weird love interest thing? Because I looked it up. She's 23 and he's 57.
I
It's like,
mean,
don't do this. It was weird enough in Yes Man when Jim Carrey and what's her name, Zoe Deschanel,
oh, maybe, yeah.
got together
Oh, yes, I know the movie you're
because
talking
she was
about.
like
Yeah.
27 at the time and he was like 50,
Yeah.
and it was kind of weird. Like he looks young, but it's still like
Mm,
it's a little weird. Like it's
you didn't look that young.
not anymore, but well, he still looks pretty young for his age, I guess. Whatever. But I guess like thinking about it now, what it is she knew what was going to happen to him. I thought there was going to be a reveal of her finding out what happened and what was going on in this place, which is that Willy's Wonderland was originally opened by a serial killer, and all the employees were serial killers, and they used it as like their hunting ground and the place where they killed people, and they killed themselves and then came back and possessed these animatronic figures to continue what they were doing. Like that was their final act, was to pull that off.
What
And
a great thing for a horror movie.
oh, it's so good.
It was good. I dug that. It really fit well with this movie.
What I really like is that they didn't have you guessing, like, will people believe it? Everybody knew it. Everybody believed it. There's one character you have to explain it to, and he believed it right away.
Yeah, it was nice how, like, the monsters in it, Willy and his Wonderland crew, they're the monsters in it, but the real evil of the movie is the townspeople who are complicit in everything that's going on. And I mean, it's almost understandable from the fact of we don't want you wrecking our town. We don't want you killing our kids. We don't want these things because they've been happening not just at the Wonderland, but apparently other places around the town, the school, the hardware store, the burger joint, things like that. They've been finding these dead bodies. So in order to keep that from happening, they're going to make a deal with this Wonderland and Willy in it because he's the head of all of it. And so that was an interesting thought that she was the sheriff was really hardcore with that. Like I thought she was coming to maybe, and we gotta grab your shotgun. We gotta go do some work. No,
Yeah,
she was exactly the opposite of what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. I thought she was like, all right, it's time. Like, this truce is over. We got to go. But instead, she was like, let me get this one person out of here. And then we're going to leave whoever else is here for them. Like, sorry we disturbed you. Sorry this guy killed some of the other animatrons. Like, we're going to get out of your hair now. I think the only part I kind of cringed at in the whole movie was Liv saying the Rorschach line. You're not trapping him in here with them. You're trapping them in here with him. I'm assuming I said that right.
That was.
It was like, yeah, that's what it is, and it's just it was just fun to watch. Like he had no character. He was almost like Forrest Gump, in that he just did what he was told to do. He was told to go in there and clean. He's like, he doesn't say it obviously, but he just cleans. When the people come in and they're trying to tell him he needs to leave, he just keeps cleaning. When the guy tells him to take a break, so he has a stopwatch set on his watch, and he just takes his break. There's a point where him and Liv are confronted with an animatron that just killed someone, and they're getting ready to fight it. Like he's like this, in a little bit of a fight pose, like a boxing pose, and then his watch beeps, and he just kind of looks at his watch, and then he turns off the alarm and straightens up, and he reaches into his pocket, pulls out a knife, hands it to her, and walks off.
Yes, hands her knife back.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, I thought of Drax. I thought of Drax when he took that from her. He's like, "I like your knife. I'm keeping it."
No, it was such a fun add to that movie that he just took breaks, and he was so methodical about everything.
Yes,
like he just beat these animatronic evil spirit creatures down when he had to.
Yeah,
and then he goes right back to cleaning,
and he didn't mess with them when he didn't have to. Like he goes into the bathroom because he hears a voice, and there's like blood on the mirror writing, something for him, and then there's a voice that starts talking to him, but he just goes and he starts cleaning the mirror off
after he had just cleaned the whole bathroom. Like the whole bathroom's clean, and then he goes back in, and there's this writing on the mirror in blood, and it's almost like, oh, son of a bitch, I got to do this again.
Yeah,
and he just starts cleaning it.
Yeah, and then one of the things pops out, and he fights it, and then he bags them all up.
He bags them up in trash bags.
He even does the Mortal Kombat thing of like the ostrich one. He like pulls the spine out.
Yep.
Like he has the great like
I didn't know there were going to be Mortal Kombat fatalities in here.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that was.
Oh my god. There's really just not much to say with this movie, which is kind of funny for a movie with a protagonist who doesn't say anything. But yeah, he's just doing whatever it is he's doing. Yeah, it reminded me of Forrest Gump a lot. Are you retarded or just stupid? Like, he just does what he's doing. He's not unintelligent. He's just doing exactly what he was told to do. He's keeping his deal. It's just so strange. He never like goes for revenge or anything. Even in the end, when the guys show up who think he's dead, like they're playing with his car and they're like, "Oh, another one for the collection" and all this stuff. And then he's still alive. Like they go in and the place is actually clean. Like, holy shit,
immaculate.
Yeah, and he like comes out and he holds out his hand for his keys, and the guy puts his keys in his hand, and he just looks at him, and then he just stares down the tow truck driver for a second. And walks off and gets in his car, and Liv gets in his car. They stare at each other for a really long time.
It reminded me of the end of From Dusk Till Dawn, when Juliette Lewis wants to go with George Clooney's character because her whole family just died.
Mm-hmm.
Only this one, she just gets in the car. They doesn't say anything. Just gets in the car. I guess I'm going with you now.
Yeah, I didn't see a nod or anything.
Nope. She just got in the car.
Yeah, she was just looking at him like this is happening, and he was looking at her like, I literally can't say no because I don't have any lines.
So one thing I thought from okay, so there's a group of kids that go along with Liv, and they're the ones who the horror movie aspect revolves around them getting killed.
Mhm.
So there's a little bit in the beginning, and then there's the background of some of the people who got killed when it was the actual humans, uh, serial killers running it. But these kids with her are the ones who the movie revolves around as far as them getting caught and getting killed and doing dumb things and general horror movie stuff. That's the
Yeah,
way that
very
works.
very much like Scream or any of those, like
Hmm.
where it's a teenage, horror thing.
See, but a couple things I didn't get. You've got the one guy who Liv goes in there, and then they hear some stuff, and it doesn't sound good, and he's like, "All right, we're out. Like, unless you want
Oh,
to die, and you want to
yeah,
die, and we
Bob
all
or
want to die."
Bob or something they called him, the one with
I don't
dreads.
know. Yeah, but the
Yeah,
one who has the girlfriend,
yeah,
and they
who's like the ditzy, like dressed in a skirt that's way too short and like a bra
absolutely,
almost, and they end up
yep,
going
they
down to
sure
Pound
do.
Town in the super happy room or whatever
Okay,
where all the
so
murders happened.
he's like the pragmatic one. He's like looking at this from somebody who's watching a horror movie. Like, why are you all doing that? You're all
Yeah,
gonna die because you're dumb. Like he's saying that stuff in the movie. Like that's where his mind is at.
he's
Like
like,
they
I
all
wanted to
know,
live. I thought you guys did too.
right? Like they all know that the things inside here kill people. Like they know that, and yet they go into the room where, and it's air quotes here, the room where it talks about that the serial killers, this is the room they took people to kill them.
Hmm.
Like that's where the magic happened, as it was. And all of a sudden she's like, I'm getting turned on. And then he just goes from being, instead of being like, babe, can you just hold that thought a minute, because I don't want to die.
Yeah.
He's like, all that blood just left his brain, went downtown, and he's like, all right, I guess we're doing this now. And then as they're in the middle of doing it, which, just for anybody else who wants to know, there's like no nudity in this, a lot of
No,
clothes stuff.
the
I wasn't.
closest the closest thing is where they're climbing up to the roof, and
Oh
that
yeah.
girlfriend character starts to go up, and her skirt is the way it is, and
Uh
he's
huh.
like, God dang, he's like, don't look, he's God damn, baby.
Baby, look away, look away. But they're in there, and like she's on top of him, and then she like stops and is like, "You hearing stuff?" And he's like, "Oh, come on, baby, let's keep going here." And
Yeah, and
like
she's
all of a
like,
sudden,
she sees the crocodile thing. She's like,
oh my god, yeah.
was that here before? And he's like, that's been in like every room. It's been on the wall. She's like, it's looking at it. He's like, let's give it a show.
That they oh that was hard to take, because it's one of those things that when you establish something in a movie, even
Yeah.
something like this, but I get it, I mean, I'm a guy, I understand what it's like to just think with your junk. I get it. Is I don't think I would do that, like if I'm in a situation where there's these things that we know kill people. Like it's
Yeah.
not like, oh, we heard stories about, it's like, no, this is our town, this is the thing that goes on. Okay, but besides that, in the very beginning, like you talked about, we Nicolas Cage driving the car, and Liv, she's dumping about out a bunch of gas. She wants to burn this place down, and she is holding the lighter. It's lit in her hand, and the cop pulls up, and so she can't do it. Why wouldn't she just do it anyways?
Yeah.
Given her
If everybody
background,
knows, yeah, you're exactly right. If everybody knows what's going on and she has the background she has of having lost her family to this place, it makes way more sense for her to be like, oh, I heard the siren. I now have like 45 more seconds to do this before somebody gets out of a car.
right? Boom, lit, burns to the ground. And whether or not that stops anything, we honestly have no idea. It might not, but her not doing that seemed a little more unrealistic, given her background.
Yeah. This was a movie that subverted expectations more
Mm-hmm.
than any other thing I've seen that said that's what they want to do. Like, there's no, Nick Cage finding out what's going on, or investigating anything. He just turns around and that ostrich thing is looking at him, like it's just standing there, and he's looking at it and he starts like thumping it in the chest with his mop or his broom or whatever. A mop, yeah. And he does it a couple times, then it starts talking and it's telling him it's gonna like eat him and feast on him and whatever else, and then he starts fighting it. Like he doesn't freak out. There's nothing. It shows up behind him. He's like, okay, something's going on, and then he just starts fighting with that mop handle, and then he breaks the mop handle, and and he yeah, he does the Mortal Kombat fatality that we talked about. He like reaches in and like rips out the robo spinal cord of this thing, and then he bags it up and he starts this really fun thing of he gets like oil all over himself from killing it, and then he bags it all up, cleans himself up, goes into that closet, grabs a clean shirt, puts it on,
Uh-huh.
goes back to cleaning stuff. It's so good.
It is him going back like it's just another this is another day of work right here.
Yeah, and that's
It,
that's what I mean. Like there's no like, oh no, I was brought in here to do this, but now I just have to survive. He's like, okay, I was brought in here to do this. I have to survive, and I have to do this, and he's not afraid.
mm,
At no point is he afraid.
no, it's
So it's a
it's
completely different kind of movie than you would expect.
and now the kids like Liv. There's this scene where she's trying to fight off something. One of these animatronic characters, and she's got her knife, and she's telling everybody else to run away. Why is she the only one who is capable of understanding have a weapon? Like why do people in these movies, and maybe they did it because of that, because people in these movies they don't ever think to try and do anything to defend themselves.
Well,
I
they
mean
they
it's
didn't come there to fight. They came there thinking they were going to tell him like, okay, there's a guy there. Let's get this guy out because they knew he was there,
mhm,
which was another thing that made me realize like, oh, she knew what they were doing with him. This is a scam. They put out this spike strip. They flatten people's tires, and they run this scam where they go, oh, there's no cash or cash only here. It's going to be
mhm.
$1,000 because who cares $1,000 worth of cash? And
Strippers.
then they throw and then or Chris's employees, that
Maybe.
steakhouse on Lindbergh.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh, those people must make so much money. Ugh. Why did I spend all this time getting a master's degree? I should have been like bussing tables there, you know, working my way up to be a waiter. Anyway, where was I going with this? They just thought they were going to roll up, and they knew that he was there. They knew the scam. They knew that the tow truck driver had somebody. That's who they're going to sacrifice to these things. And they thought they were going to be like, all right, dude, we're going to get you out. Then we're going to burn this place down. That's all they wanted to do. They just wanted to
Hmm.
burn it. They didn't want to fight. So they went to do it. I don't know why Bob and Kathy, I think that was their names, the like kind of ditzy girl who was like, was that always there? And like she's
Ugh,
bending over in that way, like,
right.
to I I I don't know why they came with at all anyway. Because that guy was smart enough to know this is not a good place to be. But for some reason they went.
It is. It's just one of those. This movie has things that, I mean, if you wanted to just tear it apart, I mean, I guess you could, but it's the way it's done, how everything comes together. Like
Yeah, we should we
we
should
just
stop
enjoyed it,
complaining about this stuff.
right?
Because yeah, it's just the movie to enjoy. It's so fun. There are a
Hmm.
lot of movies that want to be like dumb action movies that you can just watch and have fun, and this is absolutely one of the best of those, really, because they don't play at giving you some kind of deeper meaning or some self-discovery or world building or relationship building. It's just this random encounter with a guy who doesn't say anything, and he's sacrificed to these monsters, and it turns out he's a beast.
Hmm.
That's it. And these kids try to like burn the place down, and they wind up with the help of this random guy destroying the machines that are killing people.
Yeah, that
Like it's a
scene that you
more
talked about,
effective version of what they wanted to do.
that scene you talked about where the ostrich, like, he walks up to it because it's just standing there, and he like hits it a couple times with his mop handle, and then it starts talking to him, and then they just get into it, and he goes, Jeff Speakman on this thing, and the two sticks, and just beats the crap out of it, and just kills it, and starts bagging it up, and then that's where the routine starts, and it's oh my goodness, I that's what I think when I really was like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I think that's
No,
the moment
this is
when
good.
I, yes,
Yeah, I thought it was like, okay, this might be getting better when I saw those subtle movements. And then, yeah, when he starts fighting that first one, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun.
yep,
And it
and
was
that's all
so,
it was.
it
It
was
was
so
just
good.
a
It was
fun
so much
time.
fun.
Don't look at this like the preview tries to make it out like it's going to be a horror movie, like jump scares, and you're going to be nope, it ain't that. It's funny, it's well put together, it's a lot of thought put into it. It didn't take a lot of money to make this, minus getting Nick Cage in it.
Yeah. I even liked it for the like fairy girl thing, the one that's basically
Mhm.
like a discount Tinkerbell. They
Yeah,
didn't even bother getting a suit.
Siren Sarah, I
Yeah,
think is
something
what her
like
name
that.
was.
They didn't even bother getting like a suit. They just chose a girl, like just a person to play it.
Hmm.
And they
Yeah, with
had,
like the
yeah, the
big head
big,
thing.
yeah, exaggerated head that they could do the effects on. And
Hmm.
it's the same skin tone as the body. Like, they just used makeup and stuff.
Yep,
Like, everything they did was really practical, made a lot of sense, and it added to it. Practical effects are so good.
they're
This
so
movie's going to
good.
hold up really well. There are a couple little things that don't, but it's whatever. The guy going down the hall, with whatever that noise was.
Oh my god, the Mexican turtle. Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. Everything about that. Anything that oh, there's and each one of these different creatures was great in their own way.
hmm They each had their own personality, their way of fighting, the way they snuck up. Like the gorilla
Yep.
is hanging up in the ceiling or whatever. Like, so
Mhm.
he comes into the stall and it's not there,
Right.
and then it pops out.
So curious. At one point when the sheriff is there and they put Nicolas Cage's character in handcuffs and then they leave him there to supposedly die, did he just super strength out of those handcuffs?
Seems like it.
Okay, I just want to make I just wanted to just double check with you. I mean, you saw it today. I saw it like the few nights ago,
Yeah,
but
he mostly kills Siren Sarah or whatever with his legs,
yeah,
and then he just goes boop and pops out and kills the other one,
right.
the
I was like,
chameleon or
oh,
whatever.
all right. I don't think that's how handcuffs work, but
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be something. I knew actually it was going to be something of he's going to just, he's quick on his feet, like when he was fighting the ostrich with the mop. He pretty quickly, like the ostrich steps on the mop to stop him from moving it. He just breaks the handle off. And then
right.
he breaks that in half and he fights with the two pieces of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he very quickly improvised his weapons. I thought he was going to like really quickly just stand up and be like, okay, there's a jagged edge. I know because I've cleaned every inch of this place. I know where stuff is. And he's just going to boop, pop those cuffs right off. Because I heard that it was a zip. It
He
wasn't
did
like normal
pop those cups
handcuffs.
right off.
But it's whatever. I'm cool
It
with
is
it.
whatever. It was so much fun. It was just did not give me what I expected, and I loved it because of that.
Yes, I liked everything about it. And I like that it even I just like that it's one like moment in this dude's life and it didn't bother him at all. He is completely unaffected by it. He looked more shook up by realizing he should probably share his soda with this girl than anything else. Like he pops it open and and he reaches over and hands it to her. It's like he looked more weirded out by like, should I give her one? Should I not? Than he did by anything else that happened in the whole movie.
And I loved how they gave you background of the girl. They gave you background of the Willy's place, the Wonderland itself. Zero on nothing. You don't know anything about him. He's driving a car.
Yeah.
He gets stopped, and he goes to driving the car again when it's all over.
And they did a really
Nothing.
good job with the tone and making it actually really creepy in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
With the like off speed, kid stuff that would happen like at, a Showbiz or Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. Like if you slowed those down or sped them up or just had them inconsistent at all, they would be so creepy. Not that they're not already creepy. They're super creepy, but it would be so much worse if they were just like, if they're just sped up or slowed down or whatever. And then when they start singing that song,
It's your
that's clear.
birthday.
No,
And
not
we
even
want
that
you
song.
to have fun. It's your birthday. So let's party, everyone.
No, the one where Willy is singing about those kids.
Oh my.
Oh my god, that was so good. That was so creepy. And then that scene that you're talking about, their use of music, like the music there, the music when he's playing pinball. There's a song that's actually about Willy's Wonderland that plays while he's playing pinball, and then he stands up and he does like a really cool Fonzie thing where he like kicks the jukebox behind him, and
Yes, it
it
starts
starts playing
playing while they're
music.
fighting.
Yeah, it plays while they're
Yeah.
fighting, but it's playing like some kind of kid song. Like it's a rock version of some kid song. So it fits, like the tone of it fits, and the content of the song fits for the location. The attention to detail was fantastic.
And like this could have been anybody who played this character that Nicolas Cage played, really. But then that pinball scene, one of the last pinball scenes, and he does this. I think it's the one when him and Liv are about to fight that one creature, and break time, beep 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 beep. His watch goes off. He hands
Mm-hmm.
her the knife, and he takes off, and he does this dance thing, and it was, I'm like, that. It just that exploded Nicolas Cage all over the screen. It was great.
Could have done without that. Oh
No, this
man.
movie couldn't have done without that. It 100% needed that.
Yeah. So that's all I've got to say about it. It's really, really good. It's just real fun. There's not a lot to say about it. They wanted to make this fun movie and they did it. And
I
it's
keep
great.
trying to we keep trying to pick movies that we think we watch a preview for, or we think, oh man, we're going to be able to tear this apart, and those are the ones that we can't.
Yeah. I was
The
like,
ones that we like, you know, don't think that of. Nomadland
mm-hmm.
looked interesting, or the one with Gary Oldman that I picked out, the Assassins.
Yeah.
What was it called?
I don't remember.
Assassins Anonymous.
Killers Anonymous.
Killers Anonymous.
Killers Anonymous.
That
Yeah, that
yeah, that I thought, oh, this looks really interesting. But that was, I mean, so it's been this whole thing's been a roller coaster, Holligans. I don't know about you, but like we're trying to, like, if you've got again, you got something that you want us to watch that you thought was like this, that was better than you thought it was going to be, or was so much worse than you thought it was going to be because it looks so good. And movies are like that. They do a really good job with previews, or a really bad
a
job,
really
depending on how you
bad
want to look
job.
at it.
Yeah, for me who wound up watching Sweeney Todd in theaters and being like, why is this a musical? Because none of the previews indicated it was a musical, but all the girls like in my high school wanted to go see it because it was, you know, one of these like Johnny Depp movies and it's a little bit gothic and whatever. And it's like, what is this? Yeah.
But that's what they do. And this movie, like, the preview did not really do it justice for what it is. This is going to be a hands down watch.
I did not watch the preview. Just the picture of Nicolas Cage and the title, that was enough for me. So I knew literally nothing about it coming in, but I was like, ugh, I don't want to watch a Nicolas Cage movie because I was thinking of like Wicker Man,
Yeah, right.
and then it gave me more like Ghost Rider vibes. But it's better. I think it's better than Ghost Rider. I think it's
Oh
better
yeah.
than anything he's done that I've seen in at least a long time. There might be something I'm forgetting about, but this was so good. Maybe we should just create. Maybe this podcast should just be reviewing like whatever he's doing. Like what weird shit is he up to? He's at like this phase in his career where he can just kind of do whatever he wants.
There's a couple of movies when I'm looking through these ones that one I watched a preview for that I'm like, I don't know if that looks really good. That looks really weird and out there, some other horror or mind bending kind of movie. And then another one where he's this he's running this hotel and he gets caught up in this like hitman assassins kind of a thing, and apparently he's a badass from back in the day, and it turns into a whole killing thing, and it looked pretty good. So when you go down the rabbit hole of Nick Cage, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. I'm interested. I'm gonna have to go like check out YouTube, watch some previews of some of these, like see what other people are saying about it, see what they look like. This was super
You should
good.
just go on to Hulu, type Nick Cage, and a bunch of stuff's going to pop up.
Yeah, that's all I've got. I really liked it. The only person I recognized in it other than Nicolas Cage was the kid that played. I could swear his name was Bob. Let me actually Google that real quick. Yeah, Bob. Terrell Hill. I think that's how you pronounce that.
Did you recognize him
TR.
from something else?
Yeah, I saw him in something else.
Okay.
I don't know what it was, but I've definitely seen him in other stuff before.
I will say that the guy, the owner of Willy's Wonderland, one of the three. So you've got the sheriff lady, the car mechanic, tow truck driver, and then Tex McAdoo.
Tex McAdoo. Yeah,
What
that
a
was quite a
great
name.
name. That was so good.
Judas and the Black Messiah. He was in.
Okay.
He was also in. I've seen previews for that. I'm not sure if that's one of the places I recognize him from. He was also in Cobra Kai.
Okay.
He played,
which I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, he played Trey in Cobra Kai. I knew I had seen him at least one place. Cobra Kai is probably it. I know I've seen a bunch of previews for Judas and the Black Messiah. I'm not sure if that's one of the places I recognize him from. But yeah, so they probably blew most of their budget on him and Nicky Cage.
The mute Nicky Cage.
Yeah. Oh man, that was so good.
It was so much better than it had any right to be. Son
Yep.
of a bitch.
So, all right. I guess that's it, man.
Yeah, Halligan's. Where Ryan? Where can they hit us up?
Well, if they want to suggest some movie like this, we'd really appreciate it. And they could email that to us at moviehowl@gmail.com, or they could reach out on Twitter. They could follow us. They could tweet at us. They could accuse us of stuff. Maybe not that. They could accuse us of being too easy on some of these movies at Movie Howl.
All right. Well, I don't know about you. I can't think of anything else I want to talk about with this movie. It was a heck of a ride.
It's like trying to describe a roller coaster. You really can't. It's like a sensation you get. Yeah, you have to experience this.
You have to.
So good. It's just so much fun. It's super fun. Even if you don't like violence, most of the violence is against machines, so it's okay.
Kind of like Samurai Jack.
Yeah, I like that. Very much
All
like
right.
Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack.
I mean, there's a lot of like kids getting killed, but they're like, they're horror movie kids. They're asking for it.
They kind of are. They kind of are.
The Nookie Nookie was starting where the murders were taking place. They knew better.
Should have.
Bob 100% knew better because he said it before. He's like, I'm not even going in there.
Right? 100% knew better.
He's like, the only thing worth going in there for is her, his girlfriend. He's like, so let's go, babe.
And then she's like, no, I'm going in. He's like, God damn it. That's how it is. Oh. Damn women dragging us into our deaths. That's not okay. Come on. That's not all right. All right, Halligans, I want to say thanks once again for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Go watch this movie. Tell us if you enjoyed it or not. We could be completely wrong, but, we both know we're not. Yeah. We know it's great.
We know it's great.
Yep. I've been Joe.
I've been Ryan.
Looks like we're out.